Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Jason White and this is Jason's Weird Reads, and this is where I like to talk about books, mostly horror books, but I also add in some fantasy and some science fiction. So this is From the Hip number 7. This is where I like to shoot the shit from the hip, as I like to do. So starting with the last From the Hip, I decided to add in a shout out section because I never do shout out videos because I don't know if they do work, but they don't necessarily work. I think it works better if people come to these types of videos because they like watching it. And here's some more booktube content if you're unaware of it that you can go check out. So on this episode, I want to shout out Coral from Pretty and Paper Cuts. She's got an interesting vocabulary that I enjoy and appreciate, and she also has a really awesome taste in horror books. She also reads some fantasy. I highly recommend you watching her channel because she is just phenomenally awesome. I also want to shout out Lydia Peaver from her channel Typical Books. She does a lot of, she is pretty much exclusively horror. She does a lot of upcoming horror book releases videos, which I really enjoy and appreciate. And she's just got a very calm demeanor about her. I just love putting her on and just absorbing the information that she's giving because she's pretty smart and she knows her horror. And lastly, I'd like to shout out Scott from Book Invasion because he's kind of a funny guy. He reads a lot of science fiction, and I think he's got a great taste in books as well. I love watching his reviews and his wrap-ups because I want to get into reading more science fiction books, and it's channels like his that gives me a lot of ideas of where I can go with that. Okay, so the polls. The polls. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. I'm pretty sure this is approximately where I started since the last set. And I asked, do you write inside your books? Or highlight with a highlighter? And the answers were, are you effing crazy? No. Sure, why not? Or, I'm a duck. Now, these ones, wherever I put a silly answer, I'm always surprised when people answer that, but then I find myself doing the same thing when I see other people doing it. 16% people said that they're a duck, and that's great. You know what? I think it would be awesome to be a duck, so long as you're not being shot at. 24% sure, why not? And yeah, why not? You know, if you want to make some notes, they're your books. I don't have anything against, I don't personally write my own books, but I have, and I probably will again. So yeah, why not? If you need to, there's nothing wrong with it. But there's 60% people who are like, "Are you effing crazy?" No, and you know what? That's fine too. Honestly, if you don't like people marking up your books, I like it when I buy a used book, and it has people have written in the margins and whatnot. So long as you can still read the text. But I can't stand it when you lend a book to someone and they've marked it all up or got coffee stains all in it. That happens. It's crazy. Favorite subgenre of horror. So I had cosmic horror, haunted house and ghosts, possession, monster and creatures, or psychological thriller / serial killer. And the one that got the least kind of surprised me, but then if any of these got the least would have surprised me, but possession came in at 3%. Next up was monster and creature, which also surprises me because that's what I read horror for, honestly. I love monsters and I love creatures. Next up was 29% with the haunted house and ghosts, and psychological thriller serial killer came in at 30%. And, I should mention that the monster creature and cosmic horror were tied for 19%. And like I said, that surprises me because, well, that's my bag. But the most popular was psychological thriller serial killer, which is my least favorite. So that's interesting. What's your favorite type of music? I listed metal rock as one category, country, jazz slash blues, pop, and classical. I was happy with this one because metal and rock came in at first at 73%. Now the rest were all below 10%, so that's kind of crazy. Country came in at 5%, jazz and blues came in at 7%, pop music came in at 6%, and classical music came in second actually with 9%. And being readers, I can see where maybe classical music would play a role in reading, which is cool. Do you guys like the idea of live streams where there would be short story readings from a small group of horror authors on my channel? Now, I asked this for reasons because I was watching Daniel Brom. He is a writer of weird fiction, and I was watching his channel. He does like a video like every month or so, and he's fairly well known within the weird fiction circle. And so he gets people to come on and read. And right now he's doing like a summer reading thing where he just did one for June, and then in July and August again he's going to have a bunch of writers on, and they're going to do readings. And I was able to watch the first one, and that was exciting. I absolutely loved it. So I thought, I've seen other people do this, and I thought it would be kind of cool to do something similar. So we'll see where that goes. But 80% of you guys said yes, that sounds like a blast. 8% said no, that's boring. And 12% said meh, depends on who's reading, which all makes sense. Do you guys enjoy participating in reading sprints? And there's obviously yes or no. And the third option, how the heck are you supposed to read and run at the same time? And you know what? When I first heard of reading sprints, I didn't know what the hell they were either, and I was thinking the same thing. But 53%, this is the top answer, said, how the heck are you supposed to run and read at the same time? Now, I think a lot of people are trying to be funny on that. Some people genuinely don't know what a reading sprint is, and if you don't know it, it's perfectly fine. I didn't know when I first heard of them. Basically, a reading sprint is, the first I heard of them was on Twitter, where you just sort of gather together either in a Twitter group, which is in DMs, or you can just use hashtags and whatnot. And you read, you decide you're going to get together, just say at 9 o'clock at night, and you're going to read for 15 minutes, and then you're going to discuss what you read. Usually I think it's about you're reading the same book. But on BookTube here, creators will do a live event where they sit there and read with people. And they usually have guests on, and they'll read with them. And you know what? I don't really watch them, and I don't know if I'm ever going to do anything like this, but I was curious to see if anyone would be interested in this. A lot of people are like, I don't know. And then it was tied. It was tied for yes and no. 24% said either yes or no, equally. So I'm going to take it that's not really a popular idea for my channel. Maybe down the road sometime. Next, do you guys listen to bookish podcasts? If so, let me know what your favorites are down in the darkness. And I got some answers on that, but I'm not going to get into that. This video will be forever. But the answers was yes, I love podcasts. No, and a pod what? 61% said yes, I love podcasts, which is cool. I listen to as many podcasts as I can. 25% said no, and 14% said a pod what? So yes, I actually have some news regarding the podcast thing, so stay tuned till later this video, and I'll let you know what that is. And that is it for the polls. Holy cow. Alright, so with the polls out of the way, I hope I didn't miss any. I think I might have, but I don't know. So I took a little unplanned break because I'm very, very terrible at managing my own time. And I booked something on the day that I usually do, where I usually do all my videos. and then I just didn't have time to do any. So there was a huge space between videos here. I think the last video I'd done from today, I think it was the Mike Thorne interview. So yeah, it's been close to 2 weeks, a week and a half, I guess. But you know what? That happens. And to be honest with you, I kind of enjoyed my break. I wasn't checking the stats on my channel as often, and I didn't have to respond to comments as much. And when I realized that I made the mistake, I realized that I'm going to be taking an unplanned a break from BookTube, and I didn't mind. I guess I needed it, but the urge is back now, and here I am. And speaking of videos, what you're going to be seeing in the coming weeks, hopefully, is all my Q2 stuff, like all the books I've read in the second quarter and what I thought of them, all my little mini reviews, probably with some bigger video reviews where I just concentrate on like maybe 2 instead of like a bulk. So we'll see how that goes. My second quarter actually went about the same as the first quarter, which is to say I've been having a pretty good reading year. There's nothing that I've hated yet, that I finished anyway. And to be honest with you, there's not too many books that I've DNF'd either. I did a collaboration with Nichi from DarkBetweenPages recently, and if you haven't checked that out, the link for that will be up there in the cards or down there. I had a lot of fun, and we talked to Chad Lutsky together. Recently I interviewed Chad Lutsky for the channel here, but I was honored to be asked by Nichi to talk to him again. Talking to Chad twice now in 1 year has been pretty interesting. He seems like a real chill and cool cat, if you will. I enjoy talking to him, and I enjoy reading his work. So thank you, Nichi, for inviting me. So in the future, there's a couple more interviews. I want to reiterate that all the interviews I've done so far this year, actually on this channel, period, I did not set out to ask any one of these authors to talk to. They've all come to me, and because I really enjoy interviewing writers, I said yes to every one of them. So there's been a lot of interviews recently, because I swear to God that they all came within the same few days. And so I had to schedule them all into like my own schedule. So some of them got scheduled like a couple months ahead, and some of them I did right away. A lot of them were like Mike Thorne's interview. He wanted his around his release day, and so we decided to do a release day party type thing. And Mark Allen Gunnels, he wanted to do his, I think it was just after his release. And there's a couple people coming ahead, and the one I'm kind of excited for is Daniel Brahm. I've already mentioned him in this. He gave me a free ebook copy of his collection of short stories, Underworld Dreams, and I've been reading it. I'm about 75% through that book now, and I'm really like I said, I'm really enjoying it. Having come from reading Mike Thorne's collection, it's very different, and it takes you a minute to readjust, because Daniel Brahm is a very quiet, weird fiction and horror writer. He doesn't go for the flash. His books are much more introspective and character driven, and that's one reason why I love reading Daniel Brahm. But more on him in the future. Definitely stay tuned. I can't wait to talk to him. And so far, that one is scheduled for July 1st, but I might have to change that because I forgot that it's Canada's Day, so we might have like a bunch of stuff planned. But look for it soon. We're gonna keep scheduling. And I did mention the podcast thing earlier. I'm not thinking of. I am already in the process of creating a podcast for this channel here. And basically what it's going to be is just an extension of what I do here. I really miss podcasting too. And when I was podcasting, I was always interviewing authors, and so I thought, why not put my interviews up in podcast form so that people don't have to, keep their cell phone or their tablet or their computer by them. They can listen to the interviews on the go if they wish. And I thought that I would add things to these interviews. So it might not be a regular podcast. It depends on when these interviews come. But like I said, there will be other content to go in there as well. So stay tuned for that. I already have like the first 10 episodes planned, and I have the first episode recorded. I want to have at least 5 of them completely recorded. All the interviews I've done so far this year will be like the first episodes of this podcast. And I'm calling it Wyrd Reads. And I'm doing that because that's basically how I started this channel. I started calling it Wyrd Reads. I didn't have my name on it in the beginning. I put my name on later, and that is what has stuck. But I think for the podcast, just Wyrd Reads would be appropriate. And I'm also going to be launching some t-shirts and stuff for my channel. Now here's some images of the t-shirt that I got designed, and I keep forgetting. I'm supposed to be calling you guys Wyrd Readers now. Hello, my fellow Wyrd Readers. And so, yeah, you know what? It's up now if you want to go buy it. I'm going to be probably doing a video on this on its own. So you can, with all the shirts, the designs that I paid for, you can buy them as shirts, or you can buy like as a mug, or there's like iPad case or tablet case, iPhone or cell phone cases. There's one of them I added onto a pillow. So yeah, I have a Redbubble store now, and I wanna push it a bit, and I just need to figure out a few more things. But they're all up. You can go and buy yourself a T-shirt or a pillow or a mug, whatever you like. It's and there's gonna be more in the future. There's one that I designed myself. It's just a H.P. Lovecraft quote. And so, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And so I think my last note here is what I'm reading, but I've already pretty much discussed that with all the other points. Right now, I do want to mention, actually, that I read this collection of short stories by Adam Nevill. He did a collection called Wyrd. I thought it was weird because it's spelled W-Y-R-D. But apparently, the way the narrator pronounced it, it's Wyrd. Wyrd, I don't know. But this is one of the most unique collections of short stories I've ever read, in that there's no living people. There's no living humans or animals or anything in these short stories. It's all setting. The settings typically are something terrible has happened. And as we move through, it's almost like a camera eye view as you're discovering exactly what happened. And that's what the story is you're kind of piecing together what could have happened to create what looks like a very violent situation. The very first story is the one I think has been circulated the most. Can't remember the title of it, but it's about a ghost ship. And I would say it's my favorite of the collection. And I absolutely loved it. I don't think it's for everyone because of that. The way it's written is very experimental in the sense that there's no characters. The character is the setting, and we're exploring that. And that's pretty much the story as things unfold, as Adam Nevill reveals more. The more we learn, the more we piece together. It was fucking brilliant, honestly, and it was one hell of a reading experience. I absolutely loved it, and I highly recommend it if that sounds like something you would enjoy. Alright, I think I've rambled on long enough for this episode of From the Hip. And yeah, you know what? I think the From the Hips from now on are probably going to be put into that podcast as well. So links to everything will be down in the notes once I have them all. And so thank you for watching, especially if you made it this far. If you made it this far, please leave a ghosty deep down there in the darkness to let me know. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Keep being safe and keep being creative. And I'll catch you guys in the next bookish video.